Earlier this week, Apple introduced iPadOS 18, and this was the update that I was looking forward to the most. As the recently introduced M4 iPad Pros were great hardware-wise, but lacking in so many aspects when it came to their software. So I was hoping that iPadOS 18 would fix all of these issues. And has it? Well, yes, and also no. Let me explain. But first, if you've got any iPad, you've got to try out Paperlike, our sponsor. Paperlike Screen Protector offers your iPad the ultimate note-taking and drawing experience, whilst also keeping your display protected. Using their own nanodot technology for great clarity, you get a natural paper texture, resistance, and even sound. Just listen to this. Paperlike feels so much better than your iPad's glossy display, so check them out by using the link below. Okay, so if you're like me and you were hoping that Apple would give us macOS on the iPad, or at least give us a much improved file management tab, well, we got none of these things. So long story short, if you were hoping for iPadOS to make the iPad closer to the Mac, this just isn't the case. But it does come with 5 highlight features that does make the iPad a significantly better experience than before. And those are when it comes to the Apple Pencil, navigation, customization, gaming, and usability. Okay, so when it comes to the Apple Pencil, we already got some big updates with the new M4 iPad Pro and the new Apple Pencil Pro, which brought us features such as haptic feedback, the new squeeze menu, and barrel roll, something that truly changes the way designers do their work. And iPadOS 18 takes things even further. Now, when you write handwritten notes, your iPad will automatically make your handwriting look prettier, which for me at least, this is a very welcome feature as my handwriting is, it's not great. On top of this, if you copy and paste a block of normal text into a handwritten note in the Notes app, that will now automatically match your own handwriting, meaning that you can mix handwriting with typed notes and have the same look for both. Which is awesome, but something that's even better is called Math Notes. So also in the Notes app, you can actually write mathematical expressions using the Apple Pencil. And then once you write the equal sign, your iPad will automatically calculate that for you. And the surprising thing to me was that this actually works with complex expressions too. And it also updates in real time. So if you delete a number or you change your mind about a symbol, it will automatically recalculate everything from scratch. And you can even plot graphs based on your expressions, which will also update in real time. So if you're a student or you're simply someone that takes a lot of handwritten notes, then iPadOS 18 is going to be a big upgrade for you. Now, the second highlight feature in iPadOS 18 is when it comes to navigation. Some first-party Apple apps have this navigation bar at the top when you close the sidebar and then you go full screen. Whereas before, it was just full screen without any controls whatsoever, which means that you can still see all of your content while being able to navigate between the different sections of the app. For example, in the News app, I can still read all of my news while still seeing the main categories that I care about right at the top. And I can even customize these to my own liking. I think that's a great way for taking even better use of the iPad's display. Now, the third highlight feature in iPadOS 18 is customizability. And just like with iOS 18, we get the exact same customizability here, which means that we can now place our icons on the home screen anywhere we want. We are not restricted to that auto snapping that we had before, so we can create whatever home screen designs we see fit. And I feel like this is actually even more usable and needed on the iPad than on the iPhone. And that's because since we have such a big display on an iPad, I personally never filled it with apps because I always had a lot of empty space left. And it was always frustrating to me how I could never really make good use of that empty space. Well, now I can. Plus, we can also change the colors of the icons and really make the iPad our own. And of course, this pairs so well with a great wallpaper. Here, we're using our metallic melt pack from our app WallpaperZ that comes in 10 stunning designs. And just take a look at how cool the icons are able to match the color of the wallpaper. It just looks brilliant. You can get this very first wallpaper for free and in 8K by checking out our app WallpaperZ on iOS and Android. Now, the fourth main highlight in iPadOS 18 is when it comes to gaming. You see, the iPad was always a great gaming console. I mean, sure, you didn't really have any AAA titles, but you did have a massive library of games from the App Store and Apple Arcade. Games that you could also play with a controller. Well, now there's a brand new game mode that reduces the in-game response time and also doubles the polling rate with wireless controllers and AirPods, hence reducing the latency even more and making the gaming experience even better. But the best part is that now we do actually have AAA titles on the iPad. For example, we already had games recently, such as Death Stranding, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4, Alien Isolation, and even Assassin's Creed Mirage. And in a few months, we'll also be getting the latest Assassin's Creed Shadow on the iPad as well. And keep in mind that this is not only the biggest Assassin's Creed launch since Valhalla in 2020, but the iPad will also be getting it day one at the same time as all the other big platforms like the PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series S and X. Which means that if you don't have a gaming PC or any console, but you do have an iPad, you can just play it there. Of course, at lower graphical settings, but hey, at least it will be playable. Which brings me to the fifth highlight of iPadOS 18, which is of course usability, thanks to Apple Intelligence. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail here as I've already talked about it in our iOS 18 video, and the iPad works in the exact same way when it comes to Apple Intelligence. So Apple Intelligence takes all the info about you from all of your apps, and then it helps you do things much more effectively. So if you're looking for a specific photo that a friend sent over a few weeks ago through messages, you can just look that up in Spotlight Search by describing it using natural language and be able to quickly find it. If you need to plan a trip but your calendar is very full already, just ask Siri, and thanks to all the data that Apple Intelligence knows about you from your emails, messages, and so on, it will plan the perfect trip for you, taking everything else into account. And the good news is that the iPad does actually get some extra Apple Intelligence features which the iPhone doesn't actually have. For example, if you draw a rough sketch of something using your Apple Pencil, you can turn it into an actual image if you choose to do so. And because you can run two apps side by side on the iPad, something that you just cannot do on the iPhone, you can do things like have a web page open for researching on a topic on one side, and then have a notes document open on the other. And thanks to Apple Intelligence, you can summarize all the text from your research page into your actual document, and then also change the style of it in case you want to make it more fun or more professional. Or let's say that you're in a meeting with your team, you can take some handwritten notes on one side of the screen, record a meeting on the other, and then once the meeting is over, summarize using Apple Intelligence, and then paste it into your handwritten notes document, which will then automatically match the writing style to your own handwriting, and just have everything summarized and written using your own handwriting style, which is just awesome. And this is why I do see Apple Intelligence being even better on the iPad compared to the iPhone. But there is a catch to all of this, and that is that most of the iPadOS 18 features will be restricted to the latest iPads. For example, Apple Intelligence is restricted to the M1 or newer models of the iPad. So if you've got anything older, you're out of luck. And then while Math Notes does work on pre-M1 iPads, the ability to make your handwritten text prettier or convert typed text into handwritten text, that requires an M1 or newer iPad. Same goes for the ability to reposition handwritten text or the ability to transcribe audio into text in Notes. So to answer the big question as to whether or not iPadOS 18 makes the iPad more usable like a Mac, to be honest, I don't think it fully does. Like, to some extent, yes, because of the Apple Intelligence features. I do think that I will be able to streamline some of the things that I would normally do on an iPad that would take way longer compared to a Mac, so I think that's a plus. But in general, these two systems, iPadOS and macOS, are still very, very different. Plus, macOS is also getting all of these Apple Intelligence features. So yeah, I still think that iPadOS 18 is a great update to the iPad, mostly because of the new Apple Pencil features like Math Notes, and then also screen sharing features that let you circle items on another person's screen using the Apple Pencil if you want to help them troubleshoot an issue, which is great. And then all the customization changes are also great to have on the iPad too. But at the end of the day, it's not, the game-changing update, I guess, that everyone kind of hoped for. But it's still good. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. And feel free to continue this conversation on our Zone of Tech Discord as well, which is free to enter. Simply click the link below. And stay tuned for my full in-depth review of the M4 iPad Pro, and also my thoughts on how it compares to the MacBook Air. I actually went on a trip and I tried using it as a MacBook Air replacement, and the results were completely unexpected. So yeah, I'm Daniel, Zone of Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Tech, signing out. Cheers.